my name's Emma and I am a second year medical student studying online in Sydney, Australia, and today I wanted to make a video all about how I stay organized using Google Calendar and all of the tips and tricks that I have sort of collected over time using it since all the way back in undergrad. Just before we jump to my desk and I let you know how I set up my Google Calendar, wanted to give a couple quick reasons why I love the app. First and foremost, I love that it syncs across all of my devices, so I have it on my computer and on my phone, which means it's great for on the go. I do still use a bullet journal because I love the creativity, but if I'm walking to and from class and people are talking about scheduling events, I can just whip out my phone and I have my whole schedule there. I love that you can share it with others. So my school in particular uses the Google Suite, so everybody has access to Google Calendar, Google Drive, everything like that. So I can make my calendar either fully visible or partially visible when trying to organize club meetings, even just hanging out with friends. I even schedule my social life in Google Calendar and it's a little sad, but it means that I have it all in one place. And finally, I like that I can set up multiple calendars and have it all color-coded without having to hand color each one as we go along, and you don't have to have every calendar visible at the same time, which you'll see in the setup shortly why that works so well for me. So now that I've kind of told you the top 3 reasons why I love Google Calendar, hopefully I've sold you on it, let's get to my desk and we'll set up a fake calendar to show you how I would set it up from scratch. And welcome to my desk. So I will pop up the screen recording either here or I will be smaller within it and you can follow along the steps with me. I made a fake Google account to do all of this, so we've got this set up waiting for us now, but we're gonna pop through all of this and we're quickly going to go to the calendar, and then it's letting you know that you can put it on mobile phones, which we all probably already know, and ta-da! There we go. Ooh. There we go. So the first thing you have to think about is your core calendar. So for me, when I was all through undergrad, that was school, work, and sort of a life calendar, which is where I put other things, but I also was in a sorority, so sometimes I had the sorority calendar as its own thing, and those will show up here on the side. You will automatically get populated a calendar in your name, so this is Mr. Demo, first name test, that I've created, so you could leave that as sort of your life calendar. I don't use the reminders and tasks on Google. That does sync with your Google Keep and your Google Tasks, which you can use, but since I use Todoist for my sort of daily tasks and to-do items, I don't use the Google Suite for that, which I know sounds a little silly, but I actually have a video coming out about Todoist, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. So anyways, we're going to set up some new calendars, so you just hit the plus sign, add a new calendar. I'm going to set up one for school, so that's all your school stuff, and then you create that calendar, and I will buzz through as we do this for work and life as well. Perfect, so now you can see them here. You can set whatever colors you like. Stay away from your gray and your red for now because you will have a use for those later. So I'm going to make, just for the sake of my eyes, make school this blue. Actually, I like work as eucalyptus and life can stay as this nice peach because I think it'll look really pretty. But obviously, it's whatever you choose to do. So obviously your school, your life, and your work calendars, they're pretty self-explanatory. You can start your school schedule sort of as flexible as you want. So when I was in undergrad, I would set something up, like say I knew I had Monday lectures for Bio 1010, and I knew that I even had a location. People will know. And you can add the description if you want to know if it's a lecture or anything like that. But what's best about this, going in my school calendar, is if you want to at the very beginning of a semester, you can set this up to repeat weekly on Monday. Sorry, you can customize it to repeat every Monday, and it ends after, if you have 13 weeks of class, or you know that your last day of class is July 20th, we'll go with. So that is going to now populate. It's asking if you want to receive notifications. I like them, but we'll you can set those for yourself. But now this is going to populate every Monday until the end of June or whatever date we set it at. So that's handy because you can make 1 week and you can just go with it. If you have alternating labs, so if you were like me and our lab sessions alternated, you can also fix this. And this is where you can get even more detailed. So maybe I wanted my labs to be in green, but they'll still be outlined in that school blue. And repeat custom, repeat every 2 weeks, Tuesday ending the last week of July. And so now it's not going to show up the week that you don't want it. So, and you can see that it's got this blue highlight, so we know it's part of the school. So that's pretty much the schedule. I, right now, have a more flexible schedule. A, with being online classes, B, with med school, being taught by clinicians, things just move around. So I like to set my calendar up a week in advance every Sunday, and I just kind of keep on top of it and keep uploading based off of what the school has. So you can take your time and sit down and do that, or you can set it all up when you go. So I'm going to set this week up as a bit of a joke. So we've got bio and chemistry, let's throw in a physics class and some schoolwork. So there's some classes. I'm going to put in some work, so maybe I work every Sunday. And maybe Friday afternoon, Friday night, I'm going, someone's birthday dinner, I don't know. And that will go on my life calendar. So for me, I like all the colors because then I can look at it really quickly, know what's school, know what's work, and kind of see how much of my day or my week is blocked out to certain tasks. Now here's where the real tips start, your hidden calendars. This is the really good stuff for me when I was in undergrad. And that was, I created 2 different calendars that I didn't necessarily need to look at all of the time. The first being office hours. So at the beginning of every semester, I would take all of my syllabuses. If you know me from UIT, then you know that joke. So we'll change the color, but it doesn't really matter. This is where I use one of the grays, usually the darker one. But office hours, the tricky part about office hours, I'm going to be like hinting at my undergrad here, you'll be able to see it, is that they often overlap your other classes. And you don't always know when they're going to be. You don't always know that if you can go to all of them. So say these were the office hours. That makes my schedule really, really messy, and I don't really like the look of it. So I would always keep office hours checked off, meaning I don't have to see it. But say on Monday morning, I'm sitting there and I'm doing my chemistry homework, and I have a question before my lab, and I want to know if I have time to go into the office hours to check. I would just open my Google Calendar, flag the office hours, and then there we go. Jenny, my lab TA, is doing some lunch office hours. I'll go talk to her before my bio class. And those, you'd obviously set them to repeat every week. You just have to keep a mind on if your TA makes an announcement about office hours changing that week, then you may not be able to see them. It may not be the same. But I would have those repeat to the end of the semester and do it again the first week of classes. That, life-changing. The second is your to-do list, and this is where you use that light gray. My to-do list I leave checked on all the time, and it's where I block out my sort of ideal day or what I know I need to work on. So this chemistry lab, I'm going to have to do some prep for it. Should have had it done before the night before, but Monday night I would like to do prep my chem lab, right? And put that in the to-do list, and maybe I also want to read my physics lecture prep. So I've blocked that out. The nice thing is that after class, maybe I spend about an hour just kind of decompressing and everything, and I set this to send me reminders on the hour instead of early. So that means if I know I'll be to the library at about 4 after my bio class on Mondays, then when I sit down at my perfect spot in the library, it will tell me, my phone will tell me, hey, you need to work on your chemistry lab and your physics prep. And that for me is a way of not necessarily keeping track of all the little things that I needed to do, but it makes sure that I have those big things out of my mind. I don't have to think about all of the things I have to do. It just happens. And I don't have to worry that things are going to slip through the cracks. So this is something I'd probably set up every Sunday so that I could kind of block out my week and know what things I would need to work on when. It's also a really great way to start to track if you are good at predicting how long things will take you. So I'm saying that it'll take me a couple hours to do my chemistry lab and my physics prep. If I ended up being in the library till 9, it's good for me to know that those chem labs take me a lot longer than I think, and I can make adjustments for the next week. And then the great thing about the to-do list, also when you get your syllabi, is you can make red items, and those for me are your midterms, your exams, your assignments due. So maybe Friday at 5, we have, we'll say it's your physics questions that are due. I put it in to-do list, but I always go to more options, and I make it this tomato red. And you can make these, 0 minutes long. So you just make it 4:30. So then it'll pop up there. Let's get rid of the office hours because we don't need to see that. It'll pop up there and remind me that that's due. So when I look at my week at a glance, I see this bright red thing letting me know that partway through my birthday dinner, I have to submit physics questions. So I need to make sure that if I didn't get them done on Monday, that I'm getting them done on Friday morning at the latest. So then I can block out time there. Maybe I wake up, go to the gym, and then sit down in the library. My phone lets me know it's time to do your physics questions. Some other ideas for hidden calendars you can use. I've done it before where I had my gym's drop-in classes on a hidden calendar, and I set them all up sort of quarterly when the classes changed, and that way if I on Sunday wanted to do a gym class during the week, I could just open it up, view it, and then it would show me when all my options were, and I could then move one of those into sort of my life calendar, so I would be committed to it. You could also do the same with TV shows you like to see, you like to watch, drop-in classes that you have that aren't part of your schedule, but maybe you are allowed to audit, things like that. Just pretty much anything that you want to keep track of, but you don't want to have to clutter your schedule all the time. Just click them off, and then voila. And that's pretty much it. That is how I set up a calendar. For me, the big things are having that to-do list to do some time blocking and having those office hours. The office hours was the biggest change for me. I think I figured out that I should do that in 3rd or 4th year, and it made a really big difference. Personally, I like to have everything scheduled out and everything blocked out and color-coded. Obviously, you could do all of this in one calendar. Maybe just separate your office hours and your to-do list. You don't need a work, a life, a sorority, a club, a gym schedule, etc., etc. So this is my framework. Obviously, make it work for you. That's the most important part, but give it a bit of a play. Sync it to your phone. Make sure the reminders are set in a way that works for you. So whether that is, let's actually go into this. There we go. Took me a little bit to navigate there, but if you go into your settings and then you go to the settings for that specific calendar, you can scroll down and you can see notifications. So I would always make sure my to-do list, the notifications are on. Notifications 0 minutes, so it will pop up, but it will pop up right on time, where instead, and then just make sure that saves. My school, maybe it takes me a half hour to get to class, so then I want to make sure that my notifications are set to 30 minutes in advance. So go through and change those in what works for you. This is also where you go to share your calendar, so you can get a shareable link, and when you choose to share it, you can make sure that they only see, you can add people as well, and you could make sure that they only see what you want them to see. So this is my school calendar, and I'm sending it to myself so I could let myself see everything. I could let myself make changes to it. Or if I'm just sharing my availability with maybe other members in a club, I would set it to see only that I'm free or busy. If you do have multiple calendars, you're going to have to make sure that you share multiple of them, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky with letting people know your availability. And obviously don't share your to-do calendar because it's going to look like you're busy all the time. But yeah, there's my calendar and there's my framework. Make it work for you and let me know in the comments below if it helps. That's all my tips and tricks about Google Calendar. If you have any organizational tips, make sure you comment them below. I love trying out new things, so let me know what you have to offer. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see that new video about Todoist, which I'm really excited to film. It has seriously changed my organizational life. Also, if you're subscribed, then you'll be notified when I go live and do study with me's or when I release vlogs, etc. about my med school life. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!